Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. Happy Monday evening. And now that this thing is running, I think right, it is a happy evening. So, my real job is at the local state university. I'm in the facilities department. And I come into contact with a lot of really good people, especially some of the contractors we have here in the Rogue Valley. Excuse me. And one of the ones that I've known for a good decade now has a construction company. I mean, he prefers digging in the dirt, I guess is the best way to put it. But you know, he's a jack of all trades, and he's got some good guys working for him too. They picked up this Hilti, used one. I don't know how much. Doesn't really matter. I know Tom was tickled pink with it, just happier than a kid at Christmas time. And about a month ago, maybe it's been 2. I can't remember. I'm losing track of time. Calls me up, he's doing some work on campus, and he says, "Hey man, can you come up here and chat?" I'm thinking, oh crap. Usually those kind of conversations don't go well, or, you know, it's bad news. Which was sort of true this time, and he was telling me about this saw and how it had been running so good, and they got out on a job, and it started getting hot on them. It just wasn't running right, and he thought it was out of tune, and so he retuned it. And he said it just wasn't quite right. And he's like, "I'm afraid that I might have done damage to the top end." He's like, "I want you to take a look at it. Let me know if we have to. We'll get a piston and a cylinder." And so when he brought it in, I pulled it over, and the compression feels fine. And it is. I put a gauge on it, and dry, and I'm going to tell you why I say it was dry. Ah, crap. I got to put a cotter pin back in that choke first. I'll tell you why it was dry in a second when I get back with that cotter pin. Okay. Got everything I need now, I think. I hope. So anyway, like I said, I pulled it over. Felt pretty good. Proceeded to forget about it at work. I put it in a safe spot where nobody would bug it, and I proceeded to forget about it for a while. Typical. I saw, damn it, saw Tom the other day, and he's like, "Hey man, what about that orange or red or whatever that color that thing is?" And of course it hit me right away. I'm like, yeah, give me a couple days. And Tom, being the good guy that he is, like, well, hell, I'm going fishing anyway, so, you know, next week sometime. Anyhow, I got it home tonight. This choke rod is not the the best layout ever. I'll tell you that much. I got home tonight, and knowing what I knew, there were a few things I wanted to check just right off the bat. This old cotter pin is a piece of crap. First thing I did was put some fuel in it. That was my first sign that some stuff was, well, no, I take that back. I opened the fuel cap up, and, alright, I'm about irritated. This damn choke rod pin won't even go through it. Hold on one more time. I opened up the fuel cap and something didn't look right. And it wasn't. I got my syringe out and I pulled a sample out, and what I didn't find gave me some real cause for concern. So I got out my compression gauge. It still had good compression. I was getting 140, again, on what I am calling a dry cylinder. You guys might have a inkling of where I'm going with this now. There's no oil that I can see that was in that fuel that was in this poor bastard. Now it's real easy. You got multiple cans to get them mixed up, or you know, whatever. I don't know what happened here, but I'm virtually certain that this saw had no oil in the mix when I first dumped it, because that's what came out. And most of that color, that off color, is from the oil pan that I drained that tank into. So I'm amazed. That's all I can say about this, is I am truly amazed that we're seeing this thing run. Now the kickstand, I can't get that damn thing to hold. I don't know if the threads are gold. I can't get it to tighten enough to get this thing off the ground to the point where I can just idle it and not stand here and hold the thing. But it is running. Now, I got that fuel out, trying to keep the storyline, and decided, well, it's got compression. I know it has spark. I'm going to put some fresh fuel, and again, it's the steel 50-to-1 ultra synthetic. So I'll put some of that in there, and we're going to find out if this thing will run. Well, as I'm filling it, I get a puddle on the garage floor. And that was kind of like, well, not supposed to happen. I thought, well, maybe the tank vent is acting up. So I decided I'd start it. Well, it wouldn't run right. And no matter how I tune it, it wouldn't run right. So I had to come into, this boot is a pain in the butt too, by the way, folks. This boot snaps into a groove up here in the air filter to provide a true, fully sealed intake. And it is a pain in the ass. But anyway, I decided, okay, carburetor is going to have to come off. I've got to see what's going on, and I pressure tested it, and of course it just made a mess all over the workbench. The minute I put pressure to it, it just blasted whatever fuel was left in it out all over the bench. Okay, well, you guys that have watched the channel enough, you know that means that there was something wrong with the inlet lever and needle and all that stuff. And that's absolutely true. There was plenty wrong. Whoever had been in there last, damn, that is an annoyance, had not indexed the needle into the inlet arm, into that groove, and then the metering diaphragm with its nub on the bottom of the diaphragm was not indexed into the metering arm itself. So the net result was it was sitting there wide open. There was no metering of the fuel at all. And I'm having trouble with this too. That's great. So anyway, long story short, there was no on-off action. It was just the fuel was on, and that's why it was leaking, as I had it laying on its side, because obviously you have to fill it. Gotta lay it over. It was just running gas right out of the carb and all over the ground. So anyway, that's enough of me jabbering and trying to work at the same time. I'm gonna get this thing buttoned up tonight because I don't want to have to try and worry about getting it together. I see part of the problem, that's not sitting flush. Get that down, it'll be fine. I don't want to have to worry about trying to remember how it went together tomorrow. But Tom dodged a bullet on this one. I do think maybe you're going to have a discussion with whoever's mixing your fuel or grabbing the can to really watch it. This was a close call. If this had run another 10, well, maybe even 5 minutes with that, what was in there, this probably would be a different story.